Hey everybody, Keith Dotson here, and if you follow my photography at all, you probably know that I recently went to the Windsor Ruins in Mississippi, where I photographed those mysterious columns from a long-gone southern plantation house. While I was there, I met some people who told me about a fantastic ghost town not far away, so the first thing I did was jump on my phone and look for GPS directions, which proved to not be very reliable, I have to say. Went down a few false starts, found some closed roads, but eventually using their directions and some landmarks, I was able to find my way 6 miles into the woods to a little town called Rodney, Mississippi. The first thing you see when you drive into town is this little store. There you can still see a gas pump on the left. A travel article in the New York Times said that Rodney was chartered in 1828, and at its most populous in the 1850s, it had 53 stores, 2 banks, 2 newspapers, a riverboat landing, and seedy and dangerous taverns. There's not much left of Rodney now. A couple of wooden buildings and a couple of churches. The town was decimated by yellow fever, fire, and the worst blow of all, a change in the course of the Mississippi River. Here we see an old Baptist church built 1850. You can still see the high water mark from the last Mississippi River flood on the front. There's a fantastic blog post on backroadplanet.com by Ashley Coleman. She's a photographer who, believe it or not, brought a bride out here for photo shoots and then kept coming back. And she's photographed this place in all kinds of conditions, including floods, believe it or not, including at night. And I will put a link to her blog post. She's got a lot of really great photos, and I'll put a link to her page down below. Be sure you go check that out. She also includes a map of the old town, which is really interesting. This building was either a store or a saloon, and I can't tell which. According to the map, it looks like it might have been a saloon. You can also see the high water mark of the water on the front of this building. This is a Presbyterian church, dedicated in 1832. If you look above the center window, you'll see a break in the bricks. That's where a Union mortar shell struck the church. Legend has it that the actual bombshell stayed in there for decades. It was removed back in the 1990s when a Friends of the Old Church group came out and did some renovations and cleaned up a little bit, and they took that out for fear that it would fall on someone's head, but they put a fake one in there and cemented it in. You're seeing these places for the first time with me. So as I'm looking, you're seeing what I'm seeing for the first time. And while I was looking around and peeking in the windows, I didn't realize that the front door was open, and eventually we will go inside the church. They did such a nice job renovating, you can almost feel like you could attend church services here now. The story behind the mortar shell says that the town of Rodney during the Civil War was held by the Confederate soldiers, the South, but Union gunboats were out on the Mississippi River. One Sunday, some Union soldiers decided, for whatever reason, to walk into town and go to church. So they approached the Presbyterian Church, went in, attended services, and were immediately captured by Confederate forces. When the people on board the boats found out what had happened, they opened fire on the church, and that's how the mortar shell wound up in front of the building. This beautiful herringbone-style brickwork on the landings. Just beautiful. Another look at that gorgeous brick pattern. I love old bricks. At this point, I finally decided to check the front door, and amazingly, it opened right up. You can tell a lot of work's been done inside. This just about concludes our little visit to Rodney Ghost Town, everybody, but if you'll stick around for a few more minutes, you can look at the black and white photographs I took of the town that day. Thanks for watching. Be sure to visit my website, keithdotson.com.